Let's call the meeting to order and have everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a roll call, please.
Mayor Martin.
Here.
Ms. Doherty.
Here.
Ms. Fedicante.
Here.
Mr. Leahy.
Here.
Mr. Leary.
Here.
Ms. Martin.
Here.
Mr. McHugh.
Here.
7 present.
Okay, our first order of business is a special recognition of the athletic teams from the last sports season. I know there are many of you here, but we've had a lot of success here in Lowell over the last season, and so we did want to invite all of you down. We have a couple of special presentations to make and coaches to acknowledge, and as well as some individual players. First, if I could just say in a general way who's here. We have the girls basketball team. That was a state semifinalist team. The girls lost to the eventual state champion Braintree in overtime at the TD Bank North Center in the semifinal game. Went quite a long way. It was a very exciting game, as was the entire season. On boys wrestling team, the team won the state championship. Just to clarify, they won the individual state championship and lost to New Bedford in the state semifinal of the dual meet championships. Again, congratulations on a great season. The boys ice hockey team ultimately lost in the Division III North finals to the eventual state finalist Savio Prep. Congratulations to the hockey team. On cheerleading, we had the team finish second in the Division I regional tournament, qualified for the Nationals to be held in Boston on April 8th and 9th, upcoming. And the boys gymnastics were also here. The freshmen finished 4th overall in the state tournament, and that was individual accomplishment. The gymnastics team is here as well. Now, overall, everybody combined, we had 5 Globe and Herald Boston All-Scholastics, which is certainly the most in anybody's memory in one season that we can recall, at least of the folks I've talked to. Just like to acknowledge some of those individuals. First on the girls basketball team, Courtney Schemmerhorn. Courtney was a Globe All-Scholastic, a Herald All-Scholastic, a Lowell Sun All-Star, and became the all-time Lowell High School leading scorer with 1,169 points. Megan Kavanaugh and Ashley Rivera, who were both Lowell Sun All-Stars. And Mike Crowley, who was the Lowell Sun Coach of the Year. I'd like to ask Coach Crowley to come forward if he's able to get out of the crowd here. And I know School Committeeman McHugh has a special presentation for Courtney Schemmerhorn. He's the chair of the athletic subcommittee of the school committee. But why don't we hear from the coach first? Okay.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank the school committee for having us down here tonight. It was a great honor to be here. And I'd like to thank the fans in the city, because I really don't believe we could have accomplished what we accomplished without the support that we had throughout the state tournament run. The girls were great all year. It was just a fun ride. They worked hard and they had fun, and that's a nice combination. And great job, girls, and it was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. If we could have the all-time leading scorer come to the podium. And we'll recognize Mr. McHugh.
Thank you. On behalf of the school committee and the mayor himself, it's a pleasure to be the chair of the athletic subcommittee because, you know, it is all about grades and curriculum, but this is the fun stuff. And I mean, it's something that you'll always remember as you get older. You'll look back at these days as students and say, this was great. You know, you all had a great season, and I don't want you to forget that. But tonight, we have a special presentation. We actually have an engraved basketball for Courtney from behalf of the school committee and the mayor that says Courtney Shimmerhan, Lowell High School career leader, 1,469 points from 2003 to 2005. So this is something she'll have the rest of her life, and I would suggest you get a case and put it up on your trophy shelf.
Okay, boys wrestling. We have Brian Sheehan, who was a second-time New England champion, as well as the All-State champion for the fourth time. We believe that to be the first time that's happened at Lowell High School. The all-time state champion 4 times, all 4 years. Brian was a Boston Globe All-Scholastic, a Boston Herald All-Scholastic, Boston Globe Wrestler of the Year, and Lowell Sun Wrestler of the Year. Mike Betty, who was a state champion, Globe and Herald All-Scholastic, and a Lowell Sun All-Star. Matt Gauthier and Brandon Gauthier, also Lowell Sun All-Stars. And Tim O'Keefe, the Lowell Sun Coach of the Year. Coach O'Keefe, do you want to come forward?
Thank you for recognizing us once again. It's an honor to be here. On behalf of the Lowell Wrestling family, we just want to thank the administration, my bosses, the superintendents, the school committee, our headmaster, Bill Samaras, and our athletic director, Brian Martin. We had a fantastic year this year. It's a credit to our boys. They work very hard, and year in and year out, there's a lot of pressure and expectations, and somehow they rise above and they get it done. And we did unofficially win the state title. It's our 3rd year in a row, 4 out of 5 years, and the state dual meet format, which was new this year. They were trying to experiment and see how it works. We're in the state semifinal, so we're proud of what the guys did, and we thank you guys very much for supporting us.
And if we could have 4-time state champion and 2-time New England champion Brian Sheehan come forward to the podium. Is he here with us tonight?
Brian had surgery about an hour ago on his knee, so.
All right. Well,
we'll
Coach, we have a key to the city we're going to present to him that we'd like you to accept and get to him for us. Okay, boys ice hockey. Also some All-Scholastics here. Steve DiDomenico, a Globe and Herald All-Scholastic, a Lowell Sun All-Star. And Andrew Daly, also a Lowell Sun All-Star. And for individual recognition, a hockey coach here? Does the hockey coach like to say anything?
Yeah, who's the hockey coach?
What do you see? Keep it under 15, okay. I think the biggest thing that, as far as recognition, we had a good season, but one of the things that I think I'm most proud of as far as coaching these young men and women is that of the 27 players that played varsity hockey, 11 were either on the honor roll or high honor roll as far as our team is concerned. I think that's our biggest accomplishment. Presently, we have 2 players that are nominated in finalists for the Scholastic Athlete Hockey Player in the state of Massachusetts, Jimmy McKennedy and Stephen DiDomenico. There are only 6 chosen. Brendan Occasion was the very first ever to have that honor bestowed on him 2 years ago, and these 2 young men have taken, the committee is just astounded by how much they have devoted as far as education is concerned. 3 of the 6 boys that have already been chosen and number 1 in their class, they're in that type of category. Although we had a very successful season, you can understand where my pride lies as far as what we've accomplished as a team and as an educated situation.
Congratulations. Okay, for cheerleading, I think we have a special presentation to be made by Brian Martin, the athletic director.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the school committee, Superintendent Barr. I actually thought I told the cheerleaders to be here, but I don't see any of them. So in any event, it's probably my fault. But we can have them come back another time. But they did have a fabulous year. This is the first year for John Beaton as the head coach. And he did a fabulous job with these young women, and at the end of the year, we did hold the regionals at the high school and had a terrific tournament. The Lowell High School cheerleader team was awarded the Massachusetts Secondary School Administrators Association Cheerleading Team Sportsmanship Award for the entire state. So it says a lot about our kids. I'm very proud of them, and this is an award that actually goes to the headmaster for his office, so congratulations, Jeff. And the last team, boys gymnastics, we only have Zach Aguiar here, I believe. Is Zach here? I hope. Anyone see him? He's not here. The coach couldn't make it. The coach doesn't teach, he runs a company. But Zach Aguiar is a freshman in the Freshman Academy. And he was actually chosen for the Boston Herald and Boston Globe All-Scholastic as a freshman. He is a phenom. And also Lowell Sun All-Star. He's an honor roll student and a fabulous kid. He's got a lot of good teammates, and I look for that team actually to be a state championship contender next year. So on behalf of all of the athletic teams and the administration at the high school, I'm very proud of these young men and women. They have great kids. We had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I had to drive the headmaster 8 or 9 nights in a row to games. Which I guess goes with the job, but we did have a great run, and it's fun for a high school and a community to follow a team and enjoy the success of these young people. But I look for great success for our seniors to go on in their careers and for a great future in Lowell High School athletics. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you all for coming. We're all very proud of you here, too. You're free to go. You're also free to stay for the rest of the meeting. It tends not to be as exciting as what we've just had here, but certainly you're welcome to stay, but we won't be offended if you want to go home and have dinner.
Study. Do their homework.
That's next, right?
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the introduction of new principals. Chair recognizes Madam Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Martin. We've had the privilege of, over the last 2 weeks, of naming 4 principals who will be principals of schools in Lowell next year, all elementary schools. And so I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce them. Let me start, we'll do it in alphabetical order. Mary Ann Bond, if Mary Ann can step forward. Mary Ann is currently principal of the Robinson Middle School, and next fall she'll be returning to the place she loves the most, the elementary school, and she will become principal of the Varnum Elementary School. Mary Ann started her teaching career in Chelsea after graduating from UMass Lowell with a double major in elementary education and Spanish. She's a very skillful bilingual education teacher who took on several administrative responsibilities in Chelsea, came to Lowell in 1993 as assistant principal at the McAuliffe Elementary School, which at the time was home to one of our largest Spanish bilingual programs, and then accepted the invitation to step in when we needed a new principal at the Robinson School. She's done a really fine job at the Robinson School of working with youngsters and working with the staff during a challenging transition time. And Mary Ann will bring her substantial skills in second language acquisition, curriculum, and instruction to the Varnum School, where she will be replacing Lorraine Burgoyne, who is retiring after more than 30 years of work in the Lowell Public Schools. I want to welcome Mary Ann to the Varnum School.
Thank you, Carla. I just want to say thank you, Carla, Ted, assistant superintendents all, and the school committee for giving me the opportunity to go to the Varnum and take over that role as the elementary principal there. But I also want to thank you for the opportunity to have been at the Henry J. Robinson School for 3 years. I've learned a tremendous amount there. I've learned a tremendous amount about middle school education, and I hope to bring a lot of that knowledge with me to the Varnum to help those transition times when the kids are moving forward from little schools to the big bad world of middle school. So thank you all very much. I'm looking forward to it with great anticipation.
Let me introduce Kelly Clough. Kelly Clough has been serving as acting principal at the McAvenue School, and I'm delighted to be able to take the acting off of her title so that she is now principal of the McAvenue School. Kelly had been assistant principal at the McAvenue School. She came to Lowell in a somewhat untraditional route. Kelly didn't intend to be a teacher when she went to college. She went to Springfield College and majored in English and psychology and took those skills to Beacon Hill, where she worked as a legislative aide and actually had opportunity to work with former state representative and now city manager John Cox, and worked with several other legislators. And after spending a number of years in several positions on Beacon Hill, she decided that she really wanted to make her career in special education, and so she earned special education certification and then classroom teaching work, and then came to Lowell several years ago as assistant principal at the McAvenue. Kelly has shown herself to be a very strong leader, able to bring faculty together and unite behind a common purpose, maintaining that schools have to be above all. They have to be safe for youngsters, and they have to be rigorous and demanding for what they learn. And both qualities, you see both qualities in Kelly and in the school that she is leading. So I want to welcome and congratulate Kelly.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to say it's an honor to be here in Lowell, and I really look forward to continuing our work at McAvenue School. Thank you very much.
Let me invite Jason McCreven. Jason, like Mary Ann, knew early on that he wanted to be a teacher. So after finishing at the University of Maine with a concentration in natural science, and trying to work in the field of science. He really saw the light and saw education is where he wanted to be. Earned his certification, started as a regular classroom teacher, became a science specialist, and really one of Salem's most outstanding young teachers. He was selected for a regional program in the Salem area to enter into a program to prepare future principals, where he earned his degree through Salem State in Educational Leadership. He then took that education to Fitchburg, where he's been serving as an assistant principal in an elementary school, and we're delighted that Jason has accepted our offer to come to be the principal of the Moody Elementary School. Jason, of course, like all the new principals, have big shoes to fill. Bob Keegan has literally big shoes, and figuratively big shoes. Who's really, Bob has put his stamp on the Moody School, and Jason really impressed the staff there and Bob Keegan as a really worthy successor. He'll put his own stamp of leadership on the school, and Jason's knowledge of science, his knowledge of good instruction, and his really strong track record of being able to work very effectively with teachers and families and students bodes well for his success here in Lowell. So let me formally welcome Jason McCreadon.
Welcome.
I'm very excited to join the Lowell community. I'd just like to thank the committee and thank the hiring committee. And it was a pleasure to go to Moody School and meet all of the teachers there. I think it's a good match and we're going to do well. And I just want to thank the Moody teachers that came here tonight to welcome me too. Thank you.
I think the Moody faculty takes after their principal and being a little rowdy in meetings.
Harry Downs, Maxwell Regan, Eric, Jace, John.
Our fourth principal, if I could invite Matthew Stahl to come up. Matt is a teacher in the Boston Public Schools who completed a rigorous internship to be principal. You can't find anyone in Boston who has a bad word to say about Matt. He's thought of as a highly intelligent, highly articulate, deeply committed educator. The Washington staff is very excited. Washington School staff is very excited to have Matt joining the team there. He also has big shoes, but actually technically little shoes to fill, as Pat Dumont. As Pat Dumont steps down to retirement, Pat and the staff at the Washington are excited about what Matt will bring. Matt's a graduate of the University of Notre Dame, where he had a double major in business management and art history, and worked in business, trying to link those two interests until he too saw that. The real path is in education and in public education, and he was able to earn a scholarship to go to the Boston College Graduate School of Education, where he again excelled, and then has been teaching in Boston ever since. He's brought innovative programs to the school there, a wide range of experiences. And I'm pleased to also, in the very back there, is Matt's wife, Amy, and young daughter, Lorelei. They are looking to come to Lowell from Boston, so they will be there house hunting at this very moment. And we welcome Matt to Lowell and to the Lowell Public Schools.
I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. I'm really excited about becoming a part of Lowell, not only professionally, but obviously my family and I personally. And thank you for the Washington staff for showing up and showing such support. I'm really excited. Thank you.
Thank you. I think this evening may have launched the new kind of competition among schools, Chair.
Okay. Well, speaking of competition among schools, The next item on our agenda is the Spotlight on Excellence, which is the Catherine P. Stocklosa Knowledge Bowl Competition 2006, and we are pleased to welcome the championship team here from the Daly School. Okay, at this point, I would like to recognize Mr. Rurak. Before I do that, though, I would say I did miss the finals in the Knowledge Bowl competition this year, but I did catch one of the replays on TV that was on opposite Jeopardy, interestingly enough, a show I'm a big fan of in my house, and we were watching that. Some of my children and I were watching the Jeopardy show and then going back to the Knowledge Bowl, and we were finding the Jeopardy questions a little bit easier this year. So I think this is certainly an accomplishment to be proud of. I would like to introduce everybody, but I think I'm going to leave that to the coaches so I don't steal your thunder. But before we do that, I acknowledge Assistant Superintendent Rurak.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's wonderful to recognize all the student athletes that we had, but this evening we're also recognizing the academic excellence that takes place in the Lowell Public Schools. The competition in the middle school started way back in December and carried us through what we call our March Madness with the Knowledge Bowl. And we're very, very pleased to have this evening with us the winning and championship team represented by the Daly School students. And in a few minutes we'll introduce Mr. Skinner, the principal, as well as he'll introduce the coaches and as well as the students. Ms. Kajeka, who was the coordinator, is ill, and I want to sincerely thank her for expanding the Knowledge Bowl this particular year. Last year we added a mathematics round. This year we added a 5th round of competition, which was current events. And judging from the competition that took place, I think the comments that I've heard from the students themselves is they want to continue to expand this competition to having more evenings, more nights, and I'm not sure if the coaches feel that way, but I know the students do. The second place team this year, the honor went to the Wang School, and the third place finish went to the Bartlett Community Partnership School. But I want to congratulate and commend all the 9 middle school students that participated. We had a core group of 82 students participating in this academic competition. And what we'd like to do for you right now is give you a snippet, a 5 or 6 minute video, and Mayor Martin mentioned Jeopardy. I think you'll enjoy this video that captures the essence of what took place for the last 4 months. So I'd like to thank Eric Stevenson, who produced and directed this video, along with the students from Lowell High School and the Butler School that put this video together. Eric?
Assassinations. In 1948, Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated in what country? Yeah, that is correct. What negatively charged elementary particle orbits the nucleus of an atom?
Robinson. An electron.
That is correct. What line segment passes through the center of a circle and has its endpoints on the circle?
Daily.
Diameter.
That is correct. Political customs and traditions and acts passed by what body?
Parliament?
That is correct. 1 million immigrants had passed through what island in New York Bay before entering the United States?
Rogers. Ellis?
Ellis Island is correct. The difference between these pressures is called?
Buoyancy?
That is correct. Is greater than water inputs through precipitation, resulting in a prolonged water shortage.
Stocklosa.
Trout? That is correct. With a large semicircular seating area sloping down to the stage is called an?
Bartlett. Amphitheater.
That is correct. What geometric solid is like a cone except that it has a polygon for a base?
Finance pyramid.
Correct. The stage category. What is the name of the Boston company whose name is on the Patriots Stadium that was bought by Procter & Gamble? The answer is Gillette. All three teams are correct. What men's world sporting competition will be introduced at the Songus Arena in April?
Time.
Captains, show us your answers, please. The answer is curling. The city of New Orleans decided to hold what annual celebration in spite of Hurricane Katrina?
Time.
Captains. Yes, the answer is Mardi Gras. Spelling doesn't count, so all three teams are correct. These situations illustrate the American system of checks and balances. That is correct.
First person.
First person is correct.
Hydrogen.
Third person.
Liberty Bell.
Pulley.
AU Gold.
That is correct. Was the work of what colonial artist, silversmith, and revolutionary hero?
Paul Revere,
Correct.
Florida,
Hamilton,
follicles,
Longhorns.
metaphor,
The Alamo,
That is correct. This period of inactivity is called?
Finance.
Dormant,
That is correct.
400.
400 is correct.
20%.
Fluoride.
30,000.
Capital punishment.
Topographical.
Parole.
Mediterranean.
Amendment 1.
That is correct.
Conflict.
Correct.
New York.
Correct.
Balance.
Balance is correct.
Radiation.
Drafting. Respiratory.
Correct.
Butler. Natural.
Correct.
Rogers.
Adaptation,
That is correct.
gravity,
Coil,
Pollen.
Antidote,
Correct.
Bartlett.
The cylinder.
Correct.
Japanese.
That is correct.
Horizon, Goods,
Nouns.
Steam Engines,
Parliament.
That is correct. What railroad did Harriet Tubman help establish?
Bartlett.
The Underground Railroad.
That is correct. The end of the round and the end of the contest.
Congratulations to the Bartlett Community Partnership. You will be competing against the Daly and the Wayne School in the championship round of the Catherine Stark Losa Knowledge Bowl.
In 1789, George Washington started on his triumphal journey as U.S. President from Mount Vernon. That journey took him to what city where the seat of the United States government was then established?
Wang.
New York City,
That is correct.
Amendment.
Correct.
Scale,
The Emancipation Proclamation.
Wind,
Seizures. Assets.
That is correct.
Refrain, Print, Lungs, Time Machine,
Chlorophyll.
The Continental Army,
That is correct. What political group won a majority in the Palestinian parliamentary elections?
Time.
Captains. Hamas is the correct answer. Daily School getting that.
Berlin.
Marco Polo,
Slide.
Speaker of the House,
Harpsichord.
Hong Kong,
London.
London is correct.
Classifieds,
That is correct.
Arabian, Philadelphia,
Jupiter.
Capitol Hill,
Chicago.
Cornwallis,
That is correct.
Frost.
That is correct.
Europe, Africa, and Asia.
Pacific Ocean and Gulf of Mexico,
India.
Russia.
Library of Congress.
Abrasion,
That is correct. Explorers, what Englishman reached Northern California in 1579 during his circumnavigation of the world?
Drake.
That is correct.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Liam Skinner, the principal of the Daly School.
I can't resist, in this distinguished company, telling our students how proud I am of you and your accomplishments on behalf of the school. Not only your breadth of knowledge, but the way you acquit yourselves when you're in competition. You showed the way to cooperate at times. You showed great teamwork and confidence. You are a credit to your families, many of whom are here tonight. You're a credit to our teaching staff and the staff of the Daly School, and a credit to, of course, our very distinguished coaches who worked so hard and gave such an effort. I think you boys and girls know that we wouldn't be here tonight were it not for the efforts of your coaches. I'd like, if I could, to introduce Miss Ellen Naser and Mrs. Carol Collins.
Well, I want to thank you for inviting us here tonight, and the credit for the win goes to the children. The students practiced long and hard, and they did a very good job. They made us proud. I just want to mention, I'll name them in a few minutes, but my 3 8th graders have been accepted to private schools. However, they're all decided to go to the Latin Lyceum at the high school in the fall. And the other thing is that Carol Collins is retiring in June after 44 years of teaching and coaching the Knowledge Bowl for as long as it's been in existence, even before they started paying us to do it. The team consists of Corey McHugh. You want to stand up? And Perry Downs, Maxwell Regan, Eric Rojas, Joseph LaRock, Vitoon Lim, Tess Sigliano, and Tyler Crowther.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to teach for 44 years. It's been the best job anyone could ever have. And I hate to go, but they're all glad I am. They were wonderful children to work with. They're the best. And we are so lucky in Lowell to have them. So thank you for your support, and thank you for everything.
Okay. We know Mrs. Collins was holding out 44 years just to outlast her brother, who was 40 years in this chamber, I think. If the committee has any question or comment, Ms. Doherty.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd just like to say that, what happened here tonight demonstrates what it is that makes Lowell such a great community. We have wonderful, talented children and equally talented, committed adults working in our education system, and I'm proud to be part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you all for coming. Like we said to the athletes before, you're certainly welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we'd certainly understand if you didn't want to do that. So thank you and congratulations to all.
Could I say one thing, Mayor?
Yes.
I would like you to know that the Daly School has been in the finals since the conception of the things.
Thanks.
It's been in the finals.
even if they haven't won, in all the years that they've had the Knowledge Bowl, they've made the finals. So there's 3 schools, the first, second, third.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes from the March 15th, 2006 meeting. Motion to approve the minutes by Mr. Leahy, seconded by Mr. Leary. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Under permission to enter, Madam Superintendent?
Yes, the first three contracts are for amendments to existing contracts that are providing existing service in this fiscal year. The City of New Bedford, $15,000 paid for out of the special education tuition account of the FY06 budget. The City of Waltham, $18,315, same account, and the Lab Collaborative, $12,000 from the same account. The remaining contracts, and there are many of them, they are contracts that we will enter into for next year's fiscal year 07 services for youngsters whose special education needs cannot be met within our school system, and for whom we therefore need to provide tuition and transportation for an outside placement. Archway, so all of them will be funded by the FY07 budget, the special education tuition account. So I'll just read the placement and the total dollar amount. Archway Incorporated, $125,609. Brandon Residential Treatment Center Incorporated, $65,501. Case Concord Area Special Education Collaborative, $40,056. Cardinal Cushing Centers Incorporated, $171,678. That's for 2 student placements. The City of New Bedford, $15,750. The City of Newburyport, $12,476. The City of Waltham, $19,231. Community Care Services Incorporated, $40,195. The Cotting School, $57,389. The Dr. Franklin Perkins School, $151,540. The EDCO Collaborative, $107,686. The Evergreen Center Incorporated, $143,870. The Greater Lawrence Educational Collaborative, $372,850. That's for 11 student placements. Health and Education Services Incorporated, $32,567. The Justice Resource Institute Incorporated, $76,043. The Lab Collaborative, $45,474. Landmark School Incorporated, $36,249. Latham Centers Incorporated, $171,580. Lighthouse School Incorporated, $147,809. The Little People's School Incorporated, $13,267. Merrimack Education Center Incorporated, $6,716. The New England Long-Term Care Incorporated, $101,390. NFI Massachusetts Incorporated, $63,455. North Shore Education Consortium, $105,117. Perkins School for the Blind, $165,765. St. Anne's Home Incorporated, $280,399. That's for 6 student placements. The American School at Hartford for the Deaf, $78,260. The City of Laconia, New Hampshire, $10,000. The Harbor Schools Incorporated, $110,507 for 4 student placements. The Home for Little Wanderers Incorporated, $209,000 for 2 student placements. The Colburn School Incorporated, $63,175. The May Institute, $292,672, 3 students. The New England Center for Children Incorporated, $118,197 for 2 students. The Paul Center for Learning and Recreation Incorporated, $11,246. The Protestant Guild for Human Services Incorporated, $293,382, 2 student placements. Whitney Academy Incorporated, $68,068. And finally, the Town of Methuen, $13,010. So these are all seeking permission to enter into contracts. Until students are actually in the placements, no money will be expended. But by doing the contracts now, they're all in place, and we're able to act on them as soon as we need to in the new fiscal year. I think some of the committee members can remember a number of years ago we were doing these in August and sometimes even September. So I want to thank Mr. Lang and the staff in his office for moving so thoughtfully and quickly to put us in a position where we can meet our financial obligations when we need those services.
Questions? Okay, I do have one question, Madam Superintendent. Is anticipated that we'd fill most, or if not all, of these slots?
Yes, that is we would anticipate that. And then if we need to amend, we have the process during the year where we amend the contracts if we need to reserve another placement. But these contracts do not obligate us to spend up to the contract. They permit us to, but we only spend for services provided by the day. So if a youngster, for example, is in a placement for only 6 months, we only pay 6 months of the tuition. But this permits us, because we now will have a contract with the school, it will enable us to pay the tuition bill when it arrives. These all require formal contracts developed in collaboration with the law office in the city solicitor's office.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Roll call.
I need a first and a second.
Oh,
Move approval, Your Honor.
motion to approve by Ms. Vaticanti, seconded by Mr. Leahy. Roll call.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Vaticanti.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. McHugh.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Okay, the next item is under memorials. We have several. First offered by Ms. Martin for J. Stephen Ronan III, recently retired Lowell High School housemaster, and offered by Ms. Vaticanti. Dino Geromini, father of Cheryl Hall, a Sullivan Middle School teacher, and Raymond Thomas Bygold, retired head custodian at Central Administration. If we could all rise in a moment of silence. Okay, I believe there are no matters under unfinished business or public participation. That being the case, we would go to the motions. First motion is by Mr. McHugh. Request a report on the status of the required school wellness policy that needs to be implemented by July 1st, 2006. Second by Mr. Doherty. Mr. McHugh.
Thank you. Just to be very brief, I know that we're supposed to have a policy in place by the 1st of July. So I'm just if we can get an update where we stand for the next meeting, where we're at, if there's a committee formed, and what action steps they've taken to start developing this, and when they expect to have this approved. And since it's a policy, I imagine it has to come back to this committee for approval at some point. So just so we stay on track with this, I think that's what the intention of this motion is. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Doherty.
Yes, I'd just like to add to that this is a second request on an update, because this was the law that we passed around a couple of months ago. I made a motion on this. Part of what concerns me about the timing with this is there's a requirement that there's a committee that meets and comes up with this wellness plan. So I would like to just reiterate my colleagues' sense of urgency that we should get something on this really soon. Thank you.
Okay, any other comment? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. Next motion is by Ms. Vaticanti. The committee review our policy and requirements for physical education instruction, seconded by Mr. Leary. Ms. Vaticanti.
Thank you, Your Honor. When Mr. McHugh had his athletic subcommittee meeting a couple of weeks ago, we began the process of discussing this. Lowell High School actually has one of the most stringent gym policies in the state of Massachusetts. And we were tossing around the idea of how we could encompass gym with our student athletes. We understand clearly that students who play a sport, it cannot be counted as gym, but lots of students do warm up that takes place before a practice and whatnot that could in fact be counted towards gym time. I think and this goes to our ability to get kids out of the high school to Collie, to games in a manner as quick as possible, get them out of the downtown area to help to alleviate some of the traffic and get the process started to get kids on the way. So I think that we need to, and when we met with Headmaster Samaras and our athletic director, Mr. Martin, we talked about this, and I said to Mr. Martin, hey, why don't you toss some things around? I thought, you know what, we really need to formalize getting the information, because I think that the athletic subcommittee probably needs to take a look at this, because it would include some scheduling changes at the high school. But the goal here is to see how we can utilize some of that warm-up time, get students out of the high school, get those students who are going to a meet out of the high school faster, unclog the downtown, get kids to the stadiums and to practice places in a more timely manner so that they're not stuck in the afternoon traffic. Because one of the things that we heard was some kids don't get to play games because all of a sudden it gets dark and the lights are not on at Collie. I'm looking at trying to create a policy that makes it convenient for our students, yet adheres to the state policy of requiring gym. And I think we need to toss a few things around. I think, and so I want this to go to the athletic subcommittee, and I wanted it to do so we could start to formalize the process of having this discussion, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Any further comment? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is adopted. Next motion is by Mr. Leahy. Request that the superintendent or appropriate staff report on the number of crossing guards employed by the city and their current assigned location and daily hours of service. Seconded by Ms. Doherty. Mr. Leahy.
Thank you. This motion came about after a public safety meeting, joint committee meeting with the city council and the school committee last week. And we'd just like to make sure that over the years we've been cutting down on the number of buses, and there's more students walking, more parents driving, that we have the proper number of crossing guards out at intersections near all our schools. So if we could just get a report on this, and obviously with some input from principals to see, where we are and how we can update it to make it safer for all the students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Doherty?
Yes, I think this is an excellent motion, and I'd just like to add that, and I defer to my colleagues' judgment on this, that perhaps we should send this report to either the Transportation Subcommittee or the Joint Safety Subcommittee, and I'm open to, but it seems to me like we should have a comprehensive report that we'd then be looking at to bring forward to the larger body. So either of those committees, I think.
Well, the same three people are on both committees, so.
Well, I would start with the Transportation Committee then. To send the report to the Transportation Subcommittee, we could look at it, see if there's information that we then want to bring to our cohorts, colleagues on the Joint Safety Subcommittee. So if that's okay with Mr. Leahy, I'd like to add to his motion that we send the report to the Transportation Subcommittee.
Amend his motion.
Substitute, it would be a substitute.
Okay, or substitute or amend.
Okay. I'll second the amendment.
Okay, amendment to amend the motion to refer the report to the Transportation Subcommittee. So moved by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Ms. Faticante. All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The amendment is adopted. All those in favor of the motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is adopted. Okay, next motion by Mr. Leahy, request that the superintendent or appropriate staff replace the signage on Varnum Avenue showing direction to the Pawtucket Memorial Elementary School and Wang Middle School.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Fattacante. Mr. Leahy.
Thank you, Your Honor. To the superintendent, I do have the signs in my truck, so if you could nail them up this week. But
I'll get right to it if you bring me the ladder.
okay, I'll get that. If we could just, this is actually is a second request, so if we could have whatever department. Most schools have a sign on the major street pointing to the school, so if we could get something up there on Varnum Ave, I believe, just to show the direction of the school, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is adopted. Subcommittee reports. First report is the Athletics Subcommittee, a report and approval of the minutes of the meeting of March 6, 2006. Mr. McHugh, do you have any you want to report?
Yes,
Okay.
just there was
Mr.
a meeting.
McHugh.
Thank you. There was a meeting on March 6. In attendance on the committee was myself, along with Regina Fattacante and John Leahy, also noting that Jackie Doherty was present. The administration, there was the superintendent, the deputy assistant superintendent, Ted Rorak, Jay Lang, the assistant superintendent for finance, Bill Samaras, and Brian Martin, the director, athletic director. It was a pretty, it was a very good meeting, actually. It's been timely because we were kind of a little beyond halfway of the season, and the winter sports was kind of running down, and we wanted to get a sense, I think, before we get into the budget process, where our athletic programs are and how things are working, and we have a new director, just to get a sense on what direction he'd like to see this program go in. So one of the things he gave an overview of the fall sports and then the winter sports and what he's projecting on this spring. More importantly, the big issue was, it'll come up in a minute, was the darkness issue, which kind of Ms. Fattacante talked about, was one of the topics, because we recently had changed the time at Lowell High School, and at the meeting they provided a document that showed the start and stop times of all the schools in the MVC, which we are part of. So we're the last school that start, so we're the last one to get out. So that's really been part of the problem. And it's not so much the home meets, it's been an issue. It's when they have to go from Lowell High School out to the stadium, and then to get on a bus and go to another away game or event. And some of the other schools do not have lights. And what's happening, since they're getting there so late, that they're getting a late start, the children are being rushed to warm up and get right out to the game because there's officials and they want to get the game started because they're already late. And actually they had a number of games that weren't finished because of darkness. So that was an issue. We're going to follow up again on this as well. We're going to have another meeting probably in the next few weeks. We're trying to schedule a date to continue that discussion. So that's one of the topics we talked about, as well as he'll be continuing to provide us information on our, any type of budgetary concerns. Or there was one statement made about that the gymnastic team, we heard we have a very talented individual and a team that's looking to compete. They are being juggled all over the place to try to practice for gymnastics. So I think the goal is, there was a motion to have the athletic director look at the feasibility of finding space exclusively for the gymnastics team. And for example, we did talk about some of the schools, and one of the goals with hopefully the 2 renovation projects that will be coming up, that maybe when they're completed, one of those gyms will be ideally just earmarked for the gymnastics team. Because the big problem with gymnastics is that you have to set the equipment up, and to set it up, take it down, and for other games, because basketball tends to be the predominant winter sport, has become a major issue. So we authorize him to just start that feasibility of looking into space and report back to the committee. Again, the start and stop times is an issue. One of the thought processes, if it's not working, what can we do? And I think that's where that idea about possibly instead of releasing the students early, working it into their phys ed schedule, so that that's a way to get them to the stadium a little bit quicker and get them on the buses for the away meet. So we're looking at that, as well as discussing potentially changing the time back if that's what it's really needed. I know it's getting late, but that's the whole idea of trying to get this addressed before it's too late. We have our hands are tied for next year as well. And finally, no, it's actually another item on the maintaining school athletic records. And I know a few years ago, during times were tough, when we were cutting budgets, we had an individual that would maintain all the records. We had Courtney tonight, so that's a record that has to be logged. So you have to take all the games, and the coaches kind of provide those to the office. But there used to be a position that was funded where they would take all that information, compile it, and keep it so we'd have all the individual student records for the history books, more or less. So that's something we're looking at, possibly reinstating that position back at some way or some form. So we'll get a report back at our next subcommittee on that as well. And finally, the last thing we talked about was televising athletic events. We have Channel 22, which is our RTV studio, which we believe is underutilized. There's a lot of, I think, future programming, and I know there was an intent a number of years ago to get some events on that. I know we have that van that's out there so they can go out to the stadium and do some away events or mobile events as well. So we're trying to take a look at that and set something up for next year that we could try to get some of these events put back on TV. And I think one of the things I mentioned at the meeting is that over the holiday period, I was sitting watching TV and went by 22, and there was a wrestling meet on, but it wasn't even ours. It was Greater Lowell against Central Catholic. So, but it was on 22, so, which is great. I mean, there are Lowell children that go out to the vocational school, and that's a great utilization, but I'm saying to myself, why isn't Lowell High on this? We have the studio right there at the high school, at least our home meets, so we want to explore that as an opportunity to bring that back so that folks and parents could watch their child on TV as a rerun at some point, which is, I think, always good to do. So really, it's more a report of progress. We're having another meeting and bringing more information back and hopefully bringing some decisions back to this committee in the very near future. Thank you.
Okay. Motion to accept the report as a report of progress by Mr. McHugh, seconded by Mr. Leahy. Mr. Leahy, do you want to speak on the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Leahy.
Thank you. Just to speak on the subcommittee meeting, the only thing I wanted to add that this didn't come up at the time of the meeting, it just came out over the weekend about the boathouse up at the Boulevard. So I'm sure anybody on the committee, if there's anything else we can do to help assist up there, because I just learned about it over the weekend in the paper. So, but anything we can do to help out with the crew team up at the Boulevard where the, I don't know if the boathouse is closed for the season or whatever, but anything we can do as a...
We'll put that on the agenda, because I'm hoping to meet possibly next week, or it will be the week after. So we'll put that as an action item to address. I know the mayor and I attended a function with them, and there was some, that's where we became aware of it. So it's something we'll definitely take a look at.
Yeah, okay. Just for the edification of those who might not be familiar, the state agency that operates the boathouse, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, has announced its intent, I think, to not fully open the boathouse this year. They may make the boat areas available, and their plan is to not allow use of things like the bathroom and changing room facilities. I've been in contact with Senator Pangiatakis and Representative Golden about this issue. I can tell you, to say they are not happy would be an understatement. And I know they are working very diligently on this issue, so I would expect some type of, hopefully, reversal of the state position on this. But we realize here, and I think they realize as well, the importance of that facility, not just for Lowell High School, but there are Merrimack Valley Rowing Club uses that facility, the university, as well as other organizations. So I think that's not going unnoticed. There is some action being taken, and hopefully we'll have good news to report back. Ms. Fatacanti.
I don't think there was anybody sitting here who read the paper who wasn't furious, because it's absolutely unacceptable. That being said, this committee never sits around and waits for somebody else to do something. We always take a preemptive strike. So I think that the athletic subcommittee needs to figure out how we're going to solve this for our students. So whether that, now, I read in the paper that porta potties were being ordered, but what kind of structure could we rent on a part-time basis as a changing room? So I think we need to solve the problem for our kids in the short term and clearly keep the pressure on the state for solving it for UMass and, Merrimack Valley people also, and our kids. So I think that we need to figure out in the athletic subcommittee what solutions we can come up with for the short term that fix this for our kids for the next season. Thank you.
I think that's prudent course of action,
Right.
so that, I think that's certainly a worthwhile recommendation. The subcommittee will take that up. Okay, all those in favor of the motion to approve the subcommittee report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is approved. And the subcommittee report is approved. The next item is a subcommittee report on the Joint Safety and City Council Traffic Subcommittee, a report of the meeting on March 29th by Ms. Faticante.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to give a very short report. All of my colleagues were there. I appreciate everybody being in attendance. The chair of the safety subcommittee is Councilor Bud Caulfield. We did meet. There were lots of people here. Lots of concerns were raised about the traffic pattern, about the lack of sidewalks, regarding two specific areas where youngsters are going to school and coming home from school. Again, we showed some photographs to people and invited lots of people to come to the microphone and speak about the problems. That was step number one. Step number two is John Dakota, who works for the school department, and I say that, and I'm going to continue to say it because Councilor Caulfield kept praising him, and I'm thinking to myself, oh no, you're not getting him. So he found some money, a grant that the school department can apply for to use in addition to some of the services that we're currently offering. Now, what Mr. Dakota is going to do is he's going to arrange from a member of the grant committee to, and they're from Boston, to come to speak to the traffic subcommittee of the school committee, do a short presentation, because we're not even sure what it entails, and we're not even sure if we're eligible, or so before we get our hopes up, we would like to take a look at it. If it's something that we certainly are eligible to enter into, then we'd like to bring it to the full city council and school committee subcommittee. And I think that he's arranging that for the next 2 weeks. It will be, we will view this presentation in the superintendent's office. Obviously, we would like everybody to be there, but before we go ahead and say, oh, we're going to do this, we need to find out if it's applicable to us. So that's the first step. The next step is to look at how to solve some of the problems, and I think that a lot of that lies with the powers vested in the council. And that has to do with traffic patterns, it has to do with one-way streets, it has to do with signage, sidewalks, and frankly, I was unaware of how contentious the issue had become between neighbors and school kids. And I think that that everybody sitting in the chambers that night became very aware of what the situation was and how difficult it had become. So we had our first meeting. It was a very good meeting. Lots of stuff got put on the table. At least the issues got put on the table that we now know we have to look at. And Councilor Caulfield was very clear with everybody in saying that it needed to come to closure. We needed to fix the problems. Not everybody is going to be happy with some of the fixes, clearly, but safety is paramount. And in that context, certain things are going to need to be done that will change and alter traffic patterns in the neighborhood. But again, it will be paramount for student safety. And that was the culmination, the crux of our meeting, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And just so you know, this was reported on at last night's City Council meeting as well. There were several motions adopted to follow up on this with the traffic department and traffic engineers about those precise issues, traffic patterns, signage, possibility of one-way streets, and there are processes you need to go through, surveying residents. So that has all been initiated.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, motion to accept the report of the subcommittee by Ms. Faticante, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The committee report is accepted. The next subcommittee report is on the Committee on Extended Time concerning family forums of March 26th and March 20th, 2006. Ms. Faticante.
Thank you, Your Honor. My colleagues and I had an opportunity to attend 2 forums, one at the McAuliffe School, the other at the Stocklosa. The goal that the committee had in going to the 2 forums and creating the 2 forums was to determine whether there was parental interest in creating these extended day programs for these two schools, for these 2 school areas. We first met at the McAuliffe. We were able to address some concerns that people had. And the interesting thing, Your Honor, is it was good to sit and meet with parents and have them raise their concerns, because then we're going to be able to clarify in the grant request what we need to help us be successful. And clearly what we need to help us be successful is that parents want the extended day program. Clearly this is a program designed to make, designed for 2 things. One, it has an educational purpose, but it also has a purpose to assist parents. I mean, we talked about the fact that it's very difficult to raise kids today, and that school departments need to be a partner in making that happen. And school departments need to offer safe, educational and fun opportunities for kids to have extended day programming. So we had the first step, and the first step was to bring it to parents and ask them to get the word out in their schools, and that I think parents had a lot of questions, and some of the answers we didn't have because we don't yet have the grant and we're not quite sure what the next step is going to be. The superintendent has indicated the grant, we're not going to find out about the grant for at least another month. Is that true, Madam Superintendent? Even in that stage, the grant is just for us to plan. So we had our first foray into finding out whether there is parental interest, finding out whether or not we really want to proceed to get this grant, and then I think, that being said, what the next steps would be to meet the needs of the parents in these 2 neighborhoods. And it sounded like parents were excited about what we could offer. And so clearly there is an indication that we will continue to move forward with the planning, and basically see what happens. See what kind of parental input we have, and clearly that parental input will help us create these programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Leary.
Thank you. Just a quick question. Are we still going to get a questionnaire that's going to go out to all the parents of these schools that are affected? That wasn't quite, is that accurate?
There will be a survey going out, yes.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, on motion to accept the report of the subcommittee as a report of progress by Ms. Faticante, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The report is accepted. The next subcommittee report is on curriculum, report of the approval of the minutes of the April 4th meeting. Ms. Martin.
Thank you very much. Meeting did take place on April 4th. In attendance were myself and other subcommittee members, Jackie Doherty and James Leary. Also attending from the school committee were John Leahy and Kevin McHugh. And from our central office, we had Deputy Superintendent Ted Rorak. 2 topics were discussed at this meeting. First was a request from Dr. Fred Martin at the University of Massachusetts Lowell, a research request. As the members know, and as anyone who's watched know, we do have in place a protocol so that any individual looking to do research within the Lowell Public Schools does bring their proposal before the subcommittee, and then needs to have the approval of the full committee before they can move forward. This is a very interesting proposal, I think, to take place at the Bartlett Community Partnership School during their extended day program, in using robotics as a content, I guess, experience for our students, looking at the process of science, the hypothesis that's been developed by the researcher, and I'm going to read it directly. Students will gain a deeper interest and appreciation for science by providing materials, context, and structure to develop and carry out their own scientific inquiry. I think obviously the field of robotics is something that our students will benefit from having this exposure to. And overall, it was, a motion was made by Ms. Doherty and seconded by Mr. Leary, approved by the subcommittee to accept this proposal. In anticipation, we should know that it is certainly a small scale in terms of research that takes place within our schools, impacting probably about a dozen students who will participate in the actual program. And there are no real plans for publication. It really would be, the results of this research would be fairly directed at students at the University of Massachusetts Lowell. Any further publication or promotion of the results would come back to us, so that we'd be able to make those decisions at that time. But it is anticipated that it really would be used as to help in the instruction of students at the University of Massachusetts, the Graduate School of Education. So the subcommittee would make the recommendation to the full committee that we do approve this research study and allow it to take place. I'd make that in the form of a motion.
Okay, motion to adopt the recommendation of the subcommittee by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Leahy. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Well, you should have probably a vote because it's research. You know.
It's going to cost any money?
No, but I mean, it's a research that you're allowing for the schools, so.
Roll call, Your Honor.
Okay, request for a roll call.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante?
Yes.
Ms. Doherty? What am I doing? I'm sorry. Mr. Leahy?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McHugh?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Okay, Ms. Martin.
I'm sorry, the other topic that we discussed at the curriculum subcommittee was, I think, what's an important change at the Robinson School. As we all know, the Robinson is one of our more challenged schools. We've been paying particular attention to it performance-wise, and I think that the proposal was brought forward to us by the Deputy Superintendent to eliminate, or begin at least the phase-out process of our Spanish language program that has been in existence at the Robinson for 4 years now. I think that, again, giving a little bit of the history, we did focus on the McAuliffe and the Robinson as foreign language schools. We had established this program to which I think was really very innovative and was looking to take advantage of a population of students that required some additional supports. And I think we're trying to be creative in the way that we address this. And I think that, I certainly at the time applauded the effort. I also applaud the recognition now that if something doesn't work, we need to change it. And the proposal has been made to us now that we eliminate the Spanish language program at the Robinson so that we can allocate more time, more resources on core study of math and English language arts. I think that I'm anxious to see the particulars of this phase-out plan. It will allow some students who are interested to kind of work through the process so that they can. There will still be Spanish offered for the next couple years for students who are kind of midway through the process. We don't want to yank the rug out from underneath them. But the reality is that, again, when we mentioned this and discussed it during the subcommittee meeting, part of the reality of data-driven decision-making is that you need to look at the data with a very hard eye, and when things don't work, you need to be prepared to make changes, to recognize when things aren't working, and really be, I think, proactive as much as we can in making the necessary changes. There's no other school within our district that requires the kind of attention or more attention than the Robinson. It is a school that we will be paying particular attention to over the course of the next year and the next couple years. And I think this is the first step in that. I think that to be able to focus additional resources on those core competencies in terms of the math, in terms of English language arts, is warranted, and it certainly has my strong support. There was a motion made by Ms. Doherty and seconded by Mr. Leary to officially phase out the foreign language program at the Robinson, specifically for the purpose of increasing instructional time in mathematics and reading and writing, and in addition, to ensure that the appropriate resources are included as part of that comprehensive phase-out plan to ensure that our English language learners who are concentrated at the Robinson are provided with the necessary supports, whether it's through PSYOPs, through the sheltered sheltered language instruction protocols, or and I would welcome any additional resources as part to be included in this comprehensive phase-out plan to ensure that those students particularly do receive the necessary supports that they need to be successful. So the motion was made and seconded by the subcommittee. I'd make it in the form of a motion here to the full committee to phase out the language program and to, again, instruct the superintendent and her staff to develop a comprehensive strategy to show us what we will be doing at the Robinson to ensure that the increased time with math and language arts, English language arts, will be done effectively and efficiently.
Okay, motion to adopt the recommendation of the subcommittee to phase out the foreign language program at the Robinson School and come back with a report on how that additional time can be best used, by Ms. Martin, seconded by Ms. Doherty. Ms. Doherty.
I just wanted to make a comment. I think it's personally been difficult for me, and I think many of my members on the subcommittee also share the sense of loss that the only middle school that currently offers a second language program is now going to be cut. That program is going to be cut. But when we looked at the data, as my colleague mentioned, and the fact that students are having 40 minutes a day of Spanish who are struggling to do grade level work in mathematics and reading, we have to make this change, and I look forward to seeing some increased resources at the Robinson to help get the performance scores up. And I just wanted to say it wasn't taken lightly. It's a move we considered very thoughtfully. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Leary.
Just real quickly, I want to thank the Assistant Superintendent Rorak for making this action step quickly. It's something that unfortunately has to be done. We need to be successful at the Robinson School, and as my colleague, both Jackie Doherty and Connie Martin articulated, it's data-driven. It's changes that we need to make to ensure our students at the Robinson are successful. So everything's been said already very, very thoughtfully, and we're taking a quick action step, and I appreciate that and look forward to reviewing the action plan.
Okay, roll call on the motion.
So it's by Ms. Doherty and seconded by Mr. Leary, right?
No.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante.
Yes?
Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. McHugh.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
And I'd submit that as a report of progress. And
Okay, the motion to also accept the report of the subcommittee is a report of progress by Ms. Doherty, second by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That report is accepted. The next report is a report on the Technology Subcommittee of April 4th. Mr. Leahy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Subcommittee on Technology met. All members were present, myself, Ms. Martin, Mr. McHugh. Ms. Doherty was also there, and Mr. Leary. Also present, Mr. Rurak, Mr. Lang, and Mr. Schlickman, coordinator for the research and testing. There were 3 agenda items. The first item, technology inventory report. Mr. Rurak reviewed with the school committee members that were present, and he gave us each a report on the number of computers, printers, and servers that are in the school district. This was brought on by a motion by Mr. McHugh. So at length, we discussed about the products in our school system and we had a long discussion on that, and out of it, we had a motion by Mr. McHugh, seconded by Connie Martin, to request that a report be prepared and presented to a joint meeting of the Curriculum and Technology Subcommittees that describes the effort to integrate technology into curriculum and instruction throughout the elementary, middle, and high school. The report should include how classroom computer workstations and computer labs are currently utilized throughout the district. And this motion was approved 3-0. So do we want to take these up one at a time, or?
Sure, if that's your, okay, so a motion by Mr. Leahy to approve the motion as presented and adopted by the subcommittee. Second by Ms. Faticante. That's just a request for a report. You need a roll call on that?
No, no.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion's approved. Mr. Leahy.
Thank you. And that first piece was important to us because with the upcoming budget, we want to know what our inventory is and how to best utilize it in the school system. Second topic was student information management system. Mr. Rorak and Mr. Schlickman reviewed with the school committee members present a memo that we all have in our packet and recommending that the school committee consider investing in a new student information management system. Currently, the school district uses the Star-based system, software product by Century Consultants, a New Jersey-based company. Century Consultants has informed their clients that they will be moving to a client-based software application from that to a web-based application, and will no longer be supporting the client-based product. If the district were to stay with Century Consultants, a significant investment in technology infrastructure, the web servers, needs to be made. However, the district staff has grown increasingly frustrated with the lack of response to the technical questions and matters related to Star-based software application, and want to pursue the possibility of selecting another vendor to provide the student information management system software. So the committee reviewed at length with Mr. Schlickman and Mr. Rorak. After reviewing and the recommendation discussing the matter, we took the motion up by Ms. Martin and seconded by Mr. McHugh to request that a financial analysis comparison of the various software packets be provided to the school committee, along with the implementation plan and timeline for a rollout of the proposed software system before further action is taken. That was the motion, approved 3-0.
Okay, motion to adopt the recommendation of the subcommittee by Mr. Leahy, seconded by Ms. Faticante. Ms. Faticante.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am very pleased the Technology Subcommittee is going to do something about Starbase. This committee has heard nothing, Your Honor, but complaints about how impossible this system is to work with. So I realize that push came to shove, but you know what? Couldn't come in a more timely manner for us to really look at a computer program that really meets our needs, and that staff is able to adjust to, and it's about time. So my compliments to the Technology Subcommittee for finally biting the bullet and getting us out of Starbase, because it's more of a hassle than it is a help.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McHugh?
Yes, just to kind of just elaborate a little about that. I mean, there was a committee put together that researched this and put a lot of information, a study committee more than anything else, to look at the options. I think what they enlightened us is that what's very difficult is if a child moves from school to school, it's really been, the way it's set up, it's difficult to get that information as well. It's not really user-friendly, as well as I think it was good to see that the special education department was included in this, and the program they're using has no direct correlation with the system either, so it's like they're using different systems, yet it's still talking about the same student. So the whole goal is to have one system where all the student information is in one folder or one file electronically, so that as the child moves throughout our system from elementary all the way up through the high school, all the information's with that one student and not on different databases. So I think I applaud the work of the administration. We just need to get some dollar values to see what it's going to really cost and then come back. Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The recommendation of the subcommittee is adopted. Third matter at the subcommittee meeting, Mr. Leahy.
Thank you. On the last issue, Mr. Schlickman did do a lot of work with the group, and they did examine about concentrated on 5 different products that we could use. And as Mr. McHugh said, we do need just a little bit more information before we make a decision on that. The third topic of discussion was a break-fix contract for Mac repair services. Mr. Lang discussed with the school committee members present staffing issue related to the Macintosh computer repair technicians in the district. Currently, we have 2 Mac repair technicians, and one of the positions is filled. The other one remains open at this time. So I think what we did discuss at length, and what we would like to do is Mr. Lang proposed to utilize the remaining funds from the open Mac repair technician position to enter into a break-fix contract with a computer vendor for the remainder of the 205-206 school year. Mr. Lang would like to evaluate the services of the vendor over the next 2 months and bring forth a recommendation for budget deliberations as to how to best provide for the repair and maintenance of the computers. That brought the motion by Mr. McHugh, seconded by Ms. Martin, to accept Mr. Lang's recommendations and request a report on the implementation of a break-fix contract along with the recommendation for future action for the FY 207 budget deliberations. And that was approved 3-0.
Okay. Motion to adopt that recommendation of the subcommittee by Mr. Leahy, seconded by Mr. McHugh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion is adopted. And motion by Mr. Leahy, seconded by Mr. McHugh, to adopt the report of the Technology Subcommittee as a report of progress. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The report is adopted. The last subcommittee report is from the Subcommittee on Facilities from the meeting of April 4th. Mr. Leahy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Subcommittee met on facilities. All members were present, myself, Ms. Doherty, Mr. Leary. Mr. McHugh was also there. Assistant Superintendent of Finance, Jay Lang, was there, and Brian Curley, Director of Operations and Maintenance. First on the agenda, we had 4 items. Mr. Curley presented us with a facilities update. Mr. Curley reviewed with the school committee members that were present an overview of the status of the Lowell Public School facilities. So he provided us with a report on all the buildings in the school system and gave us some recommendations that we'd like to look at further and discuss. He put together quite a big packet for us, so we need a couple of days to go over it. But he did do a very nice presentation. He seems to be very comfortable in his position right now, and seems to be doing a good job for the schools. The second thing we discussed on the for the night was the DPW work order system update. School committee. This was brought on by a motion by Mr. McHugh that he had requested that the current work order system used to track and repair requests within the school buildings be reviewed and recommendations presented to assist the school committee in receiving quarterly reports from the City of Lowell Public Works. Mr. Lang and Mr. Curley updated the school committee members on the initial review of the work order system, and we all have a copy of, and attached is a copy of the progress of the initial findings of this matter. We discussed at length the current system that we have in place, and a full report will be issued on the May 3rd regular school committee meeting. So we discussed this at length, and basically we're trying to come up with the best solution to come up with a better system that will benefit all of us, the city side and the school committee side, so we can be more efficient with our work order system. The third item on the agenda was the status of the new school construction, the new Maury and the Sapasara schools. Mr. Lang reviewed with the school committee members present communication he had received from Flansburgh Associates, the project's architect, relating to the requirement of school building committee and its owner's project manager for the school construction projects under the newly established Massachusetts School Building Authority. We all have a letter in our packet, and most of the discussion concentrated on, I think this was brought up by Mr. McHugh also, that whether we needed an official school building committee. The letter from Flansburgh Associates relays to us that under the current law, although there appears not to be any current law requiring a special committee, they do recommend that we do have one. And the second discussion on this was we need to hire as the architect for a two-school project, we need to move ahead with a project manager on the two schools, whether it be someone from the city or what they do now is hire a consulting firm to take over the duties. So this was the crux of our conversation. We do need to get going on that so we can have our bids in place and start the schools in a timely fashion. The fourth item was a review of the HVAC systems. As part of the 5-year capital planning process, the school department has issued an RFQ to seek an engineering firm to evaluate the current status of the HVAC systems in each of the Lowell Public School buildings. After review of the proposals, the selection committee has recommended that RDK engineers be engaged to conduct the services outlined in the response of the RFQ. The RDK engineers was hired by the City of Lowell Public Works to provide the design and engineer work associated with the HVAC rooftop replacement recently conducted at the high school. This brought on the motion by Mr. Leary, seconded by Ms. Doherty, to allow the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations to negotiate and enter into a contract with RDK engineers for the services outlined in their submitted proposal, and not to exceed the amount of $77,600,000. This was approved 3-0. What did I say? 77,600. Sorry. So basically, we would like to have a complete review of our HVAC system and coordination with the 5-year plan to make sure that we're on track with our capital planning for the future. And that was it.
Okay. Want to take a roll call on the last item? All right. A motion to adopt the recommendation to hire the engineer as recommended by the subcommittee, moved by Ms. Faticante, seconded by Ms. Doherty. Roll call, please.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Faticante.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. McHugh.
Yes.
7 yeas, it's approved.
Okay. Ms. Doherty.
Yes, if I could just go back to one of the things that we discussed at the facilities subcommittee meeting, having to do with the New Maury and Sapasara schools. I think it's very important that we move forward in planning for these new buildings. I think we want to be in a situation where we don't have the schools ready to open and, you know, the kids are waiting. So I look at it as the 3 basic steps that we need to look at. One is, I would respectfully ask Your Honor to designate a subcommittee, either the one that's already been formed or extend some kind of a joint committee that will be able to meet in the next few weeks and really look at where we need to go with this. Because that committee would then need to make decisions regarding a project manager, because we do need somebody who's going to run it, whether we hire an outside person or go within the city. That would be a decision that this committee would be putting forward. And the last piece is we need to get that funding agreement in place with the state. My understanding is it's a matter of a signature that would then move forward to execute the documents that would allow the city to get reimbursed as we begin to spend money on this project. What's really nice about the changes in the school building program in the state is that the prior schools that were built really were built on the city borrowing the money up front, paying interest, blah, blah, blah. The way the program runs now, the city will get reimbursed as they spend the money to build the schools or renovate, whatever the case may be. But we need to execute that document. And I would just like to stress to the mayor that this is something we don't want to fall behind on scheduling. If we can get this process moving, I think it will, you know, the costs keep going up. And I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McHugh.
If you want to make a statement on that, you can go ahead first. I wanted to talk about something a little bit different, but within that same topic.
All right. I mean, my suggestion would be the standing committees. There is a standing city council subcommittee on school building construction and a subcommittee here on facilities. And I don't, in my view, I think, you know, in the interest of time, as opposed to forming a new committee, that those 2 committees serve as the committee that will advise as far as this project goes going forward. As far as the building supervisor, I guess I may have a little bit of misunderstanding. I thought the state was going to dictate to us who that would be. But if that's not the case, then certainly we need to get started and move ahead with that. I know it does require state approval. So, and I know that there's, I think that's a topic for the committee to meet and discuss. Okay. Mr. McHugh.
Yeah, on the same topic, I guess I was a little taken back about this letter that came through, because I did try to do a little research, and I did get the new regulations and talk to someone down there, and they're still in the process of a draft format, and it's the understanding that there currently is no need for an official school building committee. But the person I talked to says that there most likely will be a change, and that'll be a requirement. So at some point, I think we'll have to address that as we move forward. However, in the past projects, which was the Stock Losa or any other projects prior, there was the requirement of a school building committee. I was a little surprised. And then in this packet, we received a letter dated March 26, 2001, to Christine Lynch, who was the administrator of the school building assistance program in Boston, from the city manager, John Cox, saying that there is a school building committee. And I find it, we were told there wasn't one. And I'm just a little taken back that we're told there wasn't one. There actually was one. And it says here that since 1987, the city manager, the mayor of Lowell, and the superintendent of Lowell Public Schools have been and are the Lowell School Building Committee for the city of Lowell. So it appears we've actually had one, and I guess I will just ask the superintendent through you, Mr. Mayor, if she was aware of this as we went through these projects, and if there's been any meetings to this addressing these building projects.
I've not been aware of a committee. Certainly there have been a couple of times where the then sitting mayor and the city manager and I met over particular issues related to building projects since 2001. But I was not aware of a committee per se.
Okay, thank you. and again, I think, you know, and I don't want to go back into the past, and I think that was when I started this discussion process, my whole intention is to not have problems as we move forward with the future projects. I think, you know, there are going to be change orders. There's going to be issues that are going to come up as the projects start to go down that path. And if there is some type of committee, whether it's an official school building committee or this ad hoc or whatever we have, those things can be brought and addressed in a timely manner and can give the contractor and the architects and project engineer direction on where to go with the project. And I'm glad we're making progress, but at the same time, I find that we actually had something in place, and it appears it was never actually utilized. And you know, and that's, I think, some of the water over the dam. Why, you know, we were in a little bit of position where we're at, and you know, let's get beyond that, but let's move forward. But I think it is some type of process that we have to clearly set up, and is with those organizations that we can put together, and who'll do what. And I think we need to maybe have another meeting, Mr. Mayor, just to kind of clear up that issue of getting a project manager on board. If that's an important step, I think maybe we need to really push that forward, because again, the clock's ticking, and this has to be a final design, has to be done. I mean, and I think that committee would be a great committee to look at the project and do some value engineering before it goes out to bid. So if there's some way to maybe save some money, I think I'm all for that. And I think that's what we need to kind of be looking at, then get it out to bid, then get a contract awarded, and start get the projects moving forward, because you know, I think it's something we want to finish and complete this phase 4 of the final projects. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could just comment, I mean, the letter says this has been a committee in place since 1987. I think we've had unparalleled success across the state in the school building program that's taken place since 1987. So I think for whatever function that committee served, whether it met formally or not, we have had a whole lot of schools built with that system in place. Certainly there were problems with the Stocklosa school, and I don't think any of us are, you know, going to debate that. I mean, there's certainly problems that the delay was, but I don't think that's necessarily attributable to this type of standing committee. I think it's more maybe a tribute to the people we had in the past working on this project from the management point of view and the contractor point of view and the architect. And I think it looks to me like there'll be changes made in all 3 of those positions on this new project. So I think, you know, the more you expand the committee and add members, to me that's going to add time and deliberation and potential delay for the process. I think there does need to be a committee in place that can meet quickly and make decisions quickly if that is required. I do think it's invaluable, however, to have input from both the school committee and the city council, and so I think the standing committees that do exist certainly have a valuable role to play and should meet as soon as possible to keep these projects moving ahead. I'm very fearful, to be frank, given the experience we've had recently with bids on the parking garage. Now, it's a certain type of construction, a certain type of material that we may not see used in these school buildings, but you're right, costs continue to escalate, and they're going to, you know, continue in all likelihood to escalate. I don't think that we have a whole lot of control over that, but all the more reason to meet quickly and get these things moving ahead.
If I could just finish, thank you. If I just finish, and I agree with you 100%. I think that this has to start, and it has to be some meetings because I always believe there is something that can be saved to reduce the cost of the project. And I mean, I appreciate architects and engineers, and they want to put their architectural stamp on the building. I know when we talked the other night, Mr. Leahy brought up a great thing at the Stocklosa School. Beautiful building, but if you go outside along one of the walkways, they have these inlays, which we didn't probably have, you know, we could have cut that out. Could have just put the hot top, which is adequate, does the job. But those are the little things that sometimes can save some money before you go out to bid, so you don't have to go to the contractor, well, give me a credit and start playing that game. So if we put a functional building that's, you know, provides the educational resources in the building we need, I think that's what we want to give the children. And, you know, if we have that ability with some expertise to reduce the overall cost, that helps the taxpayers as well as the ultimate goal of getting the building done quickly. So I think that's all. the intention is to, and then to keep it on track. And I agree with you with a city council and a school committee, then you have the mechanism to bring the information back to the appropriate bodies so that everyone's in a loop on it as the project continues down the path.
I think a full cooperation on the city council on issues like that. I think everybody's in agreement that these things have to be of high quality but practical. Okay, yes, Mr. Leahy.
Just wanted to ask one question. When, how do we proceed with the hiring of the project manager? Is that something you can report back to us on, or just
Yes.
let us know how the process is going?
Yes.
Because once we get over that hurdle, that's the most important thing now, obviously. But if we could just have an update on that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Motion to accept the report of the subcommittee. Do we take the roll call?
No, just approve it and set
All
place
right,
on
motion
file.
to accept the report of the subcommittee by Mr. McHugh, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That's approved. I'm sorry, I didn't know if we had voted the contract yet for the HVAC. We done that?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
Okay, that concludes the reports of the subcommittees. The next item on the agenda is reports of the superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Martin. My first report is a brief report about the first annual Lowell Public Schools Community Festival held on March 22nd. I know a number of committee members were able to be there. I think Dr. Palaccia and the parent liaisons and the other staff at the Parent Information Center deserve a lot of credit for conceiving of an idea and carrying it through in really exceptional way. I think probably everyone there, including the planners, were stunned at how many young people and families arrived. And it was really a very well thought out evening, I think, for a first ever event to have hundreds of children and their families come to Lowell High School, at the cafeteria, the little theater, the auditorium at the McDonough Academic Center, to see student performances, to participate in a variety of interactive activities and games, to hear star school committee members doing storytelling and reading for young children. It was really a very exciting event. All of the schools had tables where they demonstrated and displayed student work so that families got a sense of what's to come in other schools and in middle schools and high schools coming. It was really a wonderful event, and I wanted to publicly thank committee members who played an active part in it, and to congratulate the Parent Information Center and the parent liaisons.
Your Honor, may I?
Yes,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Fedicanti.
School committee members were telling stories, and it sounded like this. Once upon a time, in a universe far, far away, we had all the money we needed. But my colleagues and I were all there, and it was a wonderful event.
That was a far universe away.
That was a very far universe. And I know that several of us got to read Clifford the Big Red Dog. Clifford, far more popular than any of us were that evening. But it was a wonderful event. And frankly, I have to tell you, I was shocked at how many people were there. The coordinators of this event did an amazing job. And so I'm going to ask, through you, Your Honor, to the superintendent, that we send a letter to the parent liaisons thanking them for this first, what I believe is going to be a first annual event, and look forward to their planning the second event. I think that the word will spread that it was a great time, that kids, and it's also wonderful that kids get to see the high school and get to know that they can aspire to be there one day. And so it was a fun, I saw a lot of my colleagues, I saw all my colleagues there. We had a great evening, but really big kudos go to the parent liaisons. So if we could send them a letter of thanks, that would be great.
Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to add to it, there were a number of our high school students who were just incredibly helpful during that evening. Really very enthusiastic, excited about helping out with the younger children and with the families who attended. I am particularly thankful to the anonymous student who was dressed up as Clifford the Big Red Dog, which I think showed really was a very good sport, and who acted out the story as I read it. So I was particularly thankful for that because, again, far more entertaining than I could be on my best day. But it really, to have that many kids, that many parents at the high school, really there was a great energy in the room, and it was exciting to see a first-time event have that kind of a response. So I would add my congratulations for all the organizers, all the participants. It was a great event, and I'll be looking forward to it again next year.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Doherty?
Sorry, very briefly, but we can't not mention the Cat in the Hat, because we had a middle school student dressed up as the Cat in the Hat in the Dr. Seuss room, and I think that student also deserves our appreciation. She was quite hot by the end of the night in that outfit, but I just wanted to mention the Cat in the Hat.
I would
was
say
also
anyone
there.
who is willing to put on a big furry suit gets kudos and my thanks as well.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Leahy?
Sorry. The other thing that I noticed over the night, everybody said tonight did a great job, but we can't forget, sometimes we forget the custodians at the high school. They did a great job cleaning up because there were so many people there that night that they had a lot of work to do that was extra work, and the next morning the school was spotless and you couldn't even tell that any of us were there. Thank you.
Okay, next item.
Yes, another opportunity to congratulate folks. In this case, it's the Greater Lowell Community Foundation and the Lowell High School Campaign for Educational Excellence have earned a national award for the publication, which is the campaign statement for the Campaign for Educational Excellence. They won it from the Council of Foundations, which represents thousands of foundations across the country. Our publication got a second place silver award in the category of community foundations, and I just one of the judgments of it. I will quote, right from the beginning paragraphs, this publication stresses the message of tradition yet innovation effectively and echoes it with text, graphics, and feel. Effective writing throughout draws in the reader, and the diversity in the photos is a good demonstration of the changing face of America. It was a really wonderful opportunity for Lowell in yet another arena to shine.
Mr. Leahy?
Thank you. This was a very nice letter and report, and thank you to everyone who put an effort into this, and especially I know that Brenda Costello does a great job down there, and she couldn't be here tonight, but we wanted to say thank you to her.
Okay, motion to accept those last two reports as reports of progress. Place them on file by Mr. Leahy, seconded by Mr. Leary. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Those reports are accepted. Next item, Madam Superintendent.
Yes, the technology inventory report I believe you covered in the technology subcommittee meeting, so I can go straight to graduation dates. Barring a April or May snowstorm, which I figure now that I've said it, it won't happen. Right, that's how it works, we hope. Barring having to close school for some unexpected reason, the last day of school will be Friday, June 16th. Lowell High School's graduation will be at the Songus Arena on Wednesday, June 7th. And the adult education graduation will be on Friday, June 9th at the Cyrus Irish Auditorium at Lowell High School. So those are now the official dates for all of those events. The only one that could possibly change is if there's a weather problem, in which case the last day of school would have to push over to the following Monday.
Okay. Motion to accept that by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Ms. Fedicante. Roll call, please.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Fedicante.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. McHugh.
Yes.
7 yeas, it's approved.
Okay, the next item is the personnel report. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, committee members have the personnel report, and I just want to highlight that we continue to see retirement announcements by veteran teachers. This personnel report includes the retirement of 6 teachers who, with average years of service to Lowell school children, is 33. And we're also talking about 198 years of experience walking out the door on June 30th. And we can only hope that we can attract and retain people who have that level of commitment to the next generation of youngsters. But I want to, again, these will not be the last retirements that we'll be seeing this spring, and it brings to, I believe, over 78 the number of teachers and administrators who will be retiring in June.
Okay, motion to accept the report by Mr. Leahy, seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The report is accepted.
Could I make a comment, Your Honor?
Yes, Mr. Leahy.
Okay, thank you. I'll be brief. This seems like the appropriate time. I wonder if there's one thing out there that bothers me, that a lot of people tend to say that maybe there's no, that there aren't enough people from Lowell or from the system being moved up. I personally don't have any problems with some of the hires that we've been doing in the city. But I would like to ask that, or probably make a recommendation, that I think that if anybody is interested in any type of job in the school system and moving up into administration, I'm sure that there's some sort of track that they can follow, whether it's through an official procedure that we have or through their union. So I really don't think that we hold anybody back, or we're not hiring anybody from the city, or not letting anybody move up. I'm sure that anybody interested, they're more than welcome to apply and further their career. So that's something that's been around the city a lot lately, and I just, if the superintendent had any comments, but I just think that, we're doing the best we can. Unfortunately, there's not a big selection out there for some of these jobs, and we're hiring the best people that we feel to do the best job for us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We have several items under new business. The first one is the appointment of the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment.
Yes.
Madam Superintendent.
Thank you. As committee members know, one of the most challenging retirements that we will be dealing with is the retirement of Deputy Superintendent Rurak. I am pleased tonight to offer the recommendation to the school committee that Assistant Superintendent for Student Services Jean M. Franco be named to be Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment, and step in for into the position that Ted will be leaving. I'm very confident in this recommendation. Jean has more than 16 years of teaching experience as a bilingual teacher, grades 1 through 7, plus teaching adults in the Chelsea school system, where she was also the lead teacher for the entire Spanish bilingual program. She came to Lowell 10 years ago to head up the Spanish bilingual program, and quickly demonstrated to faculty and administrators across the district her depth of knowledge about curriculum, her very strong skills at teaching people about instruction, and many skills related to assessment. Having learned a lot about second language acquisition and how to assess language. She has served on many curriculum committees. She was a sought-after participant in some of the most important endeavors in the school system in the late 90s and early 2000. Ted Rurak himself has relied heavily on Jean's expertise in curriculum and instruction over these years. I know that Ted is personally delighted that Jean will be stepping in and taking over leadership of curriculum and instruction and assessment. Jean, for the last 3.5 years, has served as Assistant Superintendent for Student Services, and it's really wonderful for us to have the opportunity to have someone step into the curriculum and instruction position who has such deep knowledge of the student services area. Because in the student services area, she has had opportunity to see the curriculum in our programs through the eyes of some of the youngsters who have the most difficulty. so that she's able to see, she's learned a great deal about special education and the challenges that youngsters in special education have, getting access to a rigorous curriculum. She's seen, because she fields many of the concerns and worries and complaints that parents bring about services for their youngsters. She's really seen, both the strengths and the weaknesses of the curriculum in the district. Jean's a graduate of UMass Lowell, who then earned her master's degree from Lesley and has taken numerous graduate courses in area universities since that time. She's a sought-after professional development expert in her field around the state, and I'm just delighted to bring forward this recommendation to the committee.
Move approval, Your Honor.
Motion to approve by Ms. Fattacante, seconded by Mr. Leary. Roll call, please.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Miss Doherty.
Yes.
Miss Fattacante.
Yes, as Mr. Rurak looks at me.
Mr. Leahy.
Sure, why not? Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Miss Martin.
Yes.
Mr. McHugh.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Thank you so very much. 10 years ago, I made the best personal and professional decision in my life, and that was to come to the Lowell Public Schools. I have met incredible children, families, leaders, teachers, staff. 3.5 years ago, Regina Fattacante, John Leahy, Connie Martin, Kevin McHugh, Tim Golden, Joe Mendonça, and Rita Murcia allowed me the pleasure, with the strong recommendation of my boss, Carla Brooks-Bear, to go forward, and you took a chance on me to become your Assistant Superintendent for Student Services. I have learned a great deal about the needs of our children and their families. It has been an awesome, awesome opportunity. Today, I thank you all here for this opportunity for me to return to my love of curriculum and instruction, teaching, learning, assessment, and most importantly all, accountability. This is measurable. You can look at my performance about how our children do, but this is all of us together. I thank you. I would be remiss, and I want to take this public opportunity to state that I know that the spirit and the thought and the strength of Ted Rorak is irreplaceable here in Lowell, absolutely. It is an honor and a privilege to follow in his footsteps. He is my mentor and my teacher. He saw a talent in me along with George Sapasaris and Peter Stamus 10 years ago, and he has put me on every committee known to man. And I'm still on them. And on the saddest days, when we hear sad news about our students, his depth of knowledge and him, including me, and his curriculum has saved me a lot of stress. So thank you, Ted. I thank the leaders of the Lowell Public Schools, the principals, the superintendent, and my team colleagues here for making every day so meaningful here in Lowell. This is a great school system. You all and we have the same mission, that every student will graduate from Lowell High School and be ready for college without remediation. It is our true mission. You cannot work in a better city. And now, I know I can retire from the Lowell Public Schools, so thank you all so, so very much.
Thank you, Jean. Congratulations. The next item under new business, I believe we've already acted on in the subcommittee reports. So that brings us to the status of the April 19th school committee meeting. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, there was a question since the April 19th meeting fell over April vacation of whether or not to hold the meeting. And so it's just a question that I wanted to make sure the committee took action one way or the other on.
Mr. Leahy.
I believe we still want to have it.
Right.
Sure, so.
Ms. Doherty?
Yes, I just would like to let the committee know I will be out of state for a wedding, so I will not be able to attend that meeting. But I'm sure you'll go on without me anyway.
We'll try.
Okay, so the meeting will be held, no further action needs to be taken. On the next item is you have a proposed FY07 budget calendar. Is there Madam Superintendent?
One of the days falls on Memorial Day. The superintendent does recognize that, right?
I suddenly
May
do.
29th?
I suddenly do.
Can we take a look at some of the dates here and see if they're acceptable to my colleagues? Because I know that some people may have some issues with Wednesday, with the Wednesday. So through Your Honor, what's the wish of my colleagues here? Your microphone, Mr. McHugh. That's fine.
And what do you want to do the next week so that we don't hold
So we don't go on Memorial Day.
Memorial Day? Do you want to do that at the first Wednesday in June?
Yes.
Which would be a typical meeting?
Yes.
All right, so we'll
Piggyback on the meeting.
So we'll put that on the regular meeting schedule of Wednesday.
Well, the first meeting in June is the Lowell High School graduation.
Right.
So,
No, Wednesday, May 31st.
Could we do Wednesday, May 31st?
May 31st, that's fine.
Okay. So the calendar will look like this. I will present the recommended budget on Wednesday, May 17th. The following Monday, May 22nd, will be the first school committee public hearing and discussion of the budget. Then Thursday, May 25th, public hearing and discussion if needed, and then Wednesday, May 31st. So we would aim for the school committee being prepared to take action on the budget that it will recommend to the city council on May 31st.
Okay.
Yep.
Motion to approve that proposal as amended by Ms.
approval.
Faticante, seconded by Ms. Doherty. Roll call, please.
Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Miss Doherty.
Yes.
Miss Faticante,
Yes.
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Miss Martin.
Yes.
Mr. McHugh.
Yes.
7 yeas approved, as amended.
And through you, Your Honor, to the superintendent and to my colleagues, what are the wishes of my colleagues regarding our first meeting in June, which we have just discovered is the Lowell High School graduation?
Could we have the meeting earlier, like at 4? Or do you want to just cancel it? Probably just cancel it.
We could, if the superintendent has business, make it the 14th. Make it the next,
Make it optional.
Well, why don't we wait till we get there? I mean, if the budget is done by then.
right, but it's our
This would be a
regular school,
regular
this is our regular school committee meeting, Your Honor, which falls on the same night as Lowell High School graduation, so not possible to do both things on the same
Right.
night. We're good, but
No, I would recommend canceling as opposed to rescheduling it for the
Okay.
following
We already
week.
pushed it to the 14th.
have we already
I think we pushed it to the
14th?
14th.
Okay.
I think it is scheduled for the 14th.
Okay. That's right.
Yes, I think we anticipated that problem.
All right, thank you. Must have.
Not the Memorial Day problem, but the,
Mr. Leahy.
Thank you. Through you to the superintendent, could I just ask, I know we've got a lot going on. I had a motion in, if we could just get a report maybe by the next meeting. All I was looking for in the motion is just a ballpark report of where we're going with the budget. I had that in a couple of months ago. I know you're working on it, it's a work in progress, but just so when we get the proposal on the 17th, we'll have a little bit of detail where we're going. Thank you.
Okay, there are a number of convention conference requests. We could take them all together. Is there a motion to approve by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Mr. Leahy. Any questions or comments on the list?
Through Your Honor, to the superintendent, how did we select the 3 Lowell High School students who are going to Portugal? It's a wonderful honor. It's very exciting. But I just want to make sure that the process was a fair process.
I don't know the answer to the question. I'll have to get information for you.
Okay.
Okay. Roll call on the motion, please.
Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante,
Yes.
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. McHugh.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Okay, there is one communication from, concerning the Merrimack Valley Teacher Recruitment Fair. Madam Superintendent?
Yes, I wanted to particularly call the committee's attention to this letter from the head of the Merrimack Valley Educators Consortium, which is a consortium of nearly 20 of the Merrimack Valley school districts. And it's a consortium that has been formed, a collaboration of the public schools in the Merrimack Valley, working together to recruit and retain a quality teaching force. And this is a letter that particularly singles out Assistant Superintendent Sue Duggan for her great work in hosting this year's teacher recruitment fair in Lowell at the Memorial Auditorium. And I want to thank Sue again for that work, but also point out the opportunity that we've taken advantage of to introduce many people to downtown Lowell by holding the fair in downtown Lowell at the auditorium. And a lot of people who come to the fair haven't been to downtown Lowell, and so it's an opportunity for them to come back to the city or come to the city for the first time in a long time and see some of the changes. So it's been a very good effort by our assistant superintendent, now over 2 years, to host the fair here. And of course, the staff, Tom McKay and the others at the Memorial Auditorium, do a terrific job of assisting us to make the venue a very satisfactory one for all the school districts that set up tables for recruitment there.
Thank you. Motion to accept the communication placed on file by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Ms. Fattacante. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion's adopted. The last item, I believe, in the agenda, under professional personnel, is a request from the members of the United Teachers of Lowell to donate sick days to Julie Buchanan and Deborah Roundtree in the number of days indicated from the teachers listed on the report.
Move approval.
Motion to approve by Ms. Fattacante, seconded by Mr. Leary. Roll call, please.
Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Doherty,
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante,
Yes.
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. McHugh.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Okay. Motion to adjourn by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Mr. Leary. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned. 9:30. 9.
Yep, 9:30, yep, 9:30. Good job, honey. The reason I asked for a roll call on that is because
Take it easy. Thanks.